what we would like to do today is that Minami-san went to annual meeting of World Economic Forum, which is held in Davos this January. So that was the first time, so we will hear what his impressions were and so forth. But before that, we would like, the topic for this session is called the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which was the main theme of the Davos annual meeting in January. And at the same time, his business, as well as the council that I have been working on, is very much related to the jobs in employment and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. So that has been the topic, and that has been the kind of things that I'm very, very much interested in. And probably you're very interested in your career as well. So that's the kind of thing that we would like to discuss today. And we have been talking about this kind of thing for a little while, but I just wanted to tell you what it was. How many of you, this is the first time? Okay, that's quite, it's about half or so that's very nice. And so I would like to welcome all the first-timers, and don't get threatened by the people who are maybe aggressive, but it's your show, you are the main characters. So I would like you to express your views and join the discussion, lead the discussion in the small breakout sessions. So I would like every single one of you to actively participate. So that's the rule for this thing. We know about this annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, but we often hear there's a keynote speech by David Cameron, Trudeau, and all those things. But the best, or the panels, such as the one that I have been showing you. But the best and the most exciting part of the annual meeting, to me, is the breakout sessions and brainstorming sessions. That we just get together and try to figure out and develop ideas, creative ideas. And that part is not shown through the webcast. Everything else you can pretty much watch the webcast. So during the time that Minami-san was in Davos, I was watching all those webcasts in Tokyo and trying to figure out what's going on. And sometimes you lose a little bit of sleep because of the time difference, but you can pretty much watch almost anything. So I wrote quite a bit on my blog, an English version, about the different panels and so forth. So that's what you could do. You could still watch a lot of webcasts that was done in January. And some of them are very long, but some of them are very much of a highlights. So it's pretty short, very well edited. And what we would like to do today is to talk about the jobs. What I would like you to do first is that probably half of you want to figure out what are the jobs which exist today, which were not around 5 or 10 years ago. And this group, think about the jobs which were, what did I say? The other way. Whatever was lost or whatever is new. So the new jobs which did not exist 5, 10 years ago, but today there are. So you can think of those jobs for a little while, like 3 seconds. And then I would like you to share the type of job that you identified, either one of the two, with your neighbor. And explain to your neighbor what job you talked about, you thought about. Clear? Okay. Think about the jobs which exist today, which didn't exist 5 or 10 years ago. Think about the job which existed 5, 10 years ago, but are not around today. I think you can think of quite a few things, as a matter of fact. So my question is clear, right? Okay. Okay, it's time for you to share your sort of finding with your neighbor, or in three, either way, but with your the people around you. For about 10, 15 minutes.
My name is Ian. One thing came to my mind is some kind of music industry. CD has vanished. Most of the CD shop has background. In this 10 years. Difficult shopping around, so even big ones like how much goes. And sometimes the local shops are also vanished because of the Amazon and not only for the music shops, as a rule, now police station never guiding some places actually. Yeah, because most of the people.
Icebox seller.
20 years or 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's like my time. When I was a kid, there was no refrigerator. So they're like ice, big ice. But that, I don't think too many of you know that. So, okay, what else?
Many years ago, there was a job like typist.
Typist? Yeah, typist is not, I don't know, it's not definitely 5, 10 years ago.
More than that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was doing the teletype, telex. Yeah, I worked as a telex operator at Japan Airlines when I was a student. I remember so clearly. I got paid 720 yen a day. Yeah.
Maybe similar kind of thing was I forgot. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. What else?
Book publish listed phone number and see the shop's phone number and call town page in Japan.
Okay, yeah. Town page we don't have. We don't have Jikokuyo either, right? How many of you would use Jikokuyo to check the trains? Yeah, we used to do that. Well, whenever we want to go to somewhere, we check which trains. Not anymore, right?
I just remember.
Yeah.
The key puncher.
Oh, key punch.
The one key puncher and program, they are different things.
Okay. Go ahead.
Where is the old structure? I mean, Dagashia?
Dagashia? Isn't Dagashia still around?
Yes.
Which market?
Okay. I think there are some
Yes.
still around. Okay, let's go the other way. We do help the job, but didn't exist 5, 10 years ago. Go ahead.
Line sound creator.
Okay, line stamp creator. Okay. Yeah. Does everybody know what that is? Okay. Who does line? How many of you do? Okay. I don't, so but I know what that is. Okay. What else?
YouTube.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Okay, YouTuber. Yeah, they can make a living, right? Go ahead. Airbnb owner. Okay. What else?
Affiliate or blogger.
Affiliate
Blogger.
or blogger. Okay. What else? Everything's related to technology.
iPhone application creator.
iPhone application creator. Okay. I think iPhone came out 2007?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What else? Anything else?
Data scientist.
Data scientist? Probably we called it something else, but there wasn't that many. And what I do, what I know is that I have a professional friend who does all the data collections on her own. She used to work for a company, but if you tell her what is the hypothesis that you're working on, what kind of information you need, she can get it. And I think that's the job. And I remember I don't think it's longer than 10 years, but she was trying to find the title. How do I call my service? Yeah, because nobody had any idea as to what to expect. But that's a very professional job, because she can figure out the cost and benefit, and so she doesn't go everywhere. She just goes to pinpoint, because she knows so much about the data. And if you ask her to do something more, she may say, it's not, worth money or time, because you don't find anything related to that, or something like that. Okay, anything else? Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, local innovator, sort of. Okay. As a matter of fact, I think there is a local innovators forum scheduled, because I wrote the blog and I got the information from Japan Society of New York. They are hosting, and I think it's also done by Nikkei Biz News or something. So that's on the 27th of February, I think. But you can check my blog, because I wrote about that. Anything else? Go ahead.
Vegetable factory.
Vegetable factory? Interesting. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay. I don't know where he went. Okay, that's good. So I think you can pretty much tell the jobs change with the time. So there are new jobs. There are jobs which are lost, so to speak. There are jobs which didn't exist 5-10 years ago, and that has become possible, probably through the internet, probably through other things as well. So that shows that we can expect a lot more changes. And so we did the Future of Jobs report, and that's a survey done with the HR managers throughout the world. And we try to find out what are the factors which will impact, which disrupt the employment or jobs. And to our surprise, the biggest response was flexible work style, rather than technology per se. I mean, flexible work style is enabled by technology, but rather than mobile and cloud and so forth, that's the one that came out. And it's interesting because it reflects the technological change as well as the social change. So people have a very different value systems. So in a way, I think sometimes I find Japan a little bit outdated, because people want you see a lot of the people who are in recruit suits. They want full-time job at established companies. And I think that's a little bit sort of outdating, phenomenon. And that's part of the reason why I'm freelancing. And my name card has no title, because I think that's the future. And sometimes people can't figure out who I am. So I have a lot of trouble explaining what it is. But, so probably we can just kind of figure out what to do. And we have quite a few jobs which are going to increase, and quite a few jobs which are going to decrease, depending upon the industry. But across the board, engineering, computer scientists, math are the ones which are going to be in big demand. Administrative jobs, which means white collars, sales, and factory workers are the ones who are going to be decreasing. So that's kind of understandable, and you can almost imagine. And the kind of skills that are going to be very much needed, which may not be as much today, is social skills rather than technical skills. Technical skills need to be complemented by social skills because we will be working with a very different kinds of people. So how do you negotiate? How do you make sure that they collaborate, even though they have very different values or backgrounds? So that's where the social skills come in. And I am lately sort of convinced that that's where the Japanese may be able to capitalize on. Because we tend to be pretty good at sort of negotiations and sort of make sure that everybody's more or less satisfied. The only problem is they are good with the Japanese people. But that's just half of the story. But I think there is a potential because there are a lot of people who are outside of Japan who are, I'm not going to name, they just talk about their own views. They're so loud, and but they don't really listen. And in order to be, the social skill, it consists of listening to what they want to say, they are saying, and try to find the common ground so that we can find some kind of agreement and move on. And I think that's very, very important. So, but rather than technical skills and things like that, social skills came up top. So I thought it was quite interesting. And so is the system skills. But anyway, I'm not going to talk too much. Let me introduce today's guest, Soichiro Minami of BizReach, who is a young global leader and who is, we did the panel together. I moderated the panel, and that's how I got to know him. And I didn't know him even before. But he's a young global leader, and he went to Davos for the first time in January. And we talked before because I was trying to make the Davos experience in Tokyo a little bit bigger event. I mean, today we have a lot, but I wanted to scale up. And I asked him whether BizReach can help us to scale up. And that's how I got to know him even more. And I found out that he's going to Davos, so I just asked him to share his view and his reactions. And if you read his blog, it's almost so obvious that he was so excited. And he met with a lot of very excited people. So with that note, let me give the floor to you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Soichiro Minami of BizReach. As Ishikawa-san just mentioned, I had the opportunity and the honor to participate at the Davos annual meetings maybe 3 weeks ago. It was a great experience, all in all. I wrote maybe 4 or 5 articles regarding my stay there. It was a very kind of a rookie-like blog, basically. I would leave that up to Hori-san of Globus to write the actual, the economics and the social impacts of what's happening there. So I wrote a blog, talking a lot about a lot of things that happened there. But to me, it was an eye-opening experience in the sense that, not every day do you get to meet some of the leaders from different countries, different companies, and other international organizations. And I run a startup. We're very lucky to have grown very fast. We're finishing up our 7th year, and we have about 550 employees. So that in itself, for me, it's a big job and an everyday job. And not every day do I get to think about what the world is in need of or how the world is changing. Because my business is ever changing every day, So the simulation I get from the businesses and how it changes really takes up my time and my brain and everything that goes along with it. But you take a half step back and to think about what's actually happening. Do I think about what the life of a refugee is on a daily basis? Not really. Like Ishikura-san just mentioned, do I really think about what kinds of jobs are disappearing or what kind of jobs are popping up? And you take everything with a grain of salt, and you take a half a step back and think about it for a few days. And to me, it was like, really massaging my brain for 3 or 4 days. Massaging my brain, taking a step back and looking at what's actually really happening around the world. And to me, it was almost like a World Cup for adults. I think you get the soccer World Cup going on for the top football players around the world. But to me, it was a big kind of World Cup event for not just business people, but for the important people around the world in various industries and various different sectors. So, I got the pleasure of participating in the event because I was selected as a young global leader. I think if I'm not really ready to participate in those events, I think my company isn't in the state where I could participate in some of the seminars or the breakout sessions, and I could give my opinion or my ideas, but am I really in the situation of really participating? But I'm very lucky that the World Economic Forum allows about 100 young global leaders to participate every year, and I now know the reason why they do so. I think I have something to look forward to in the next 10, 15 years when I can really give back to society or be part of what is all happening and talked about in those sessions. So, I got to be an intern at the World Cup for the 4 days there, and it really raised my vision and really to see farther than what I really am doing every day. So I'll leave it at that.
Who was the most impressive, or the people who are the people who made the greatest impact on you?
I think one person that really had an impact, I think I wrote in my blog, was Jack Ma of Alibaba. There was a special session. He was actually a young global leader 10 years ago. He represented China at Davos 10 years ago. And he was, all his meetings are crammed into 15-minute sessions in the 2 or 3 days he was there. But he specifically opened up an hour session for the young global leaders because it was a memorable speech. He mentioned that 10 years ago when he came to Davos, he was a nobody, he said. Yeah, I was a nobody. I didn't know anybody. No one really cared who I was. But I got selected and went to go check it out. And, for him, he mentioned that it really opened up his eyes to some of the things that were happening around the world. And at the same time, Davos was the location that he decided that he would take on the world. That he would build a business in China and grow it out of China and really see and attack the world with his business. And he was very appreciative of being selected as a young global leader, having the opportunity to come to Davos. And it was his way of giving back to the community, was taking time with the new young global leaders and expressing his opinions and relaying what he learned in the 10 years journey he had since his first Davos experience. So it was very eye-opening, in a lot of ways.
Good. I think David Cameron was there, and he was one of the young global leaders as well. So there are quite a few people who were young global leaders, and then became the leaders. So in that sense, I think it's quite interesting, and I think it's a great exposure to the whole world, kind of. What was the thing that surprised you?
I think what it is that once you go into, there's a convention center right in the middle of the city, and actually, there's about 2,000 to 2,500 actual participants of the official event. And then you have all these secretaries and assistants and tag-alongs that come with them. And they can actually enter into the Congress Center. So once you step into the Congress Center, it's basically you for yourself. You have no assistants, you have no people talking on behalf of you or blocking other people coming. So it's interesting. There's people who are very social and who are very open to talk. You're sitting at the bar, like I was at the cloak, and I look behind, it's Sheryl Sandberg trying to put her coat into the cloak. So and you say hi, and they say hi back to you, because once you're in that space, you're regarded as someone special, and people are very open. When I was working on my PC at one of the lounges, across from me was Mr. Ross, who's the head of Human Rights Watch, and Kanae Doi is a good friend of mine. So I mentioned her name, and he starts chatting with her. So things like that, I think everyone's very open to having a discussion, or very open to saying hi and talking about what they do and what's important to them. So the openness was what was most surprising for me. Yeah.
Let me open up to the floor. If you have any questions.
What the leaders talk about fourth industrial revolution, that concept is still ambiguous for many leaders. Or some people talk about specific things.
I think it's twofold. One is what actually is the fourth industrial revolution? What does it present? What does it mean? What are some of the things that are happening? And the second fold was what actually happens after this. Like Ishikawa-san just mentioned about jobs. What kind of jobs will disappear? How will people work? What will happen to the labor force? What are the social impacts when robots take over, 50% of the jobs in factories? So I think in terms of the fourth industrial revolution, I think, it's basically a definition of the revolution itself, and also the social impact or the economic impacts it has on people's lifestyles and work styles. The answer is obviously pretty ambiguous at this point. Obviously, there was a lot of discussion about robots, and probably anything that we can imagine will happen in the next 50 to 100 years. It's kind of definite that anything that you can imagine will happen. We'll probably even have Astro Boy, or we'll have Doraemon, probably popping up around the world. The impact is very difficult to see. I think a lot of leaders were a little bit worried. Some were more optimistic about human beings and the fight against robots or any kind of machinery that will have any kind of artificial intelligence component to it. Obviously coming from a business or a job background with the business I do, it's very interesting to hear, some of the things that people were talking about. I think, someone mentioned that, what areas are humans good at and what areas are robots good at. The comparison there and the discussions, in the breakout sessions, the not the panel discussions, but the group discussions, or the brainstorming was very interesting. And you get a group of people who have diverse backgrounds, who are in different economic situations, who are working in different environments. You're prone to have a lot of different ideas. And like I said, it was kind of like a brain massaging session. And because I'm in the job industry, it was very interesting for me to learn about. Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead.
What is your takeaway as a CEO of the BizReach when you go to Davos? Because I'm asking you because Davos is a place of the gathering of visionaries. But coming back to Japan, you have a lot of difficulties or barriers or regulations. Or even customers are not visionaries, and you have to enlighten or evangelize these people. I think that the real market is different. So I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right way to answer. Like I said before, I think Davos is more for leaders of bigger companies. It's a gathering of global leaders in government or in international institutions, and you rarely get a CEO of a startup participating. I hardly met anybody And there were some in the Young Global Leader group. That's basically 100 people out of 2,500 people. And the rest of the 2,400 people, these are global leaders, right? So, to be honest with you, going to Davos, I didn't really understand what I was going to get out of it from a business perspective, from a BizReach perspective. Obviously, we don't have a global business. Most of 99% of my business is in Japan. I got to meet the head of Mitsubishi Corp or Mitsubishi Chemical or Lawson or Suntory. That was enlightening, and it was charming to meet these people because those are guys that I don't regularly meet. But that wasn't the real, I think, lesson or the take back I got from the 4 days that I was there. I think it was more for me than for my company. I really thank my employees for giving me the opportunity to go because, obviously I was selected as a representative of my company. I don't think I was selected as Soichiro Minami or Young Global Leader or Davos. I think I was selected as because I'm the CEO of my company. Obviously the biggest take back I got or that I think I got was I think I became a bigger person in terms of vision or wanting to really attack the world with current businesses. I think it's more of a mid to long term kind of thing that I gained. I don't think it'll change what I do on a daily basis in 2016, but hopefully by having a bigger vision of what we want to do in 5 to 10 years, I think that will have a direct impact on how I run my company or how I help the employees of my company dream bigger. Yeah, so I think every now and then you need to, when I'm working in my company, I had a company of 500 people, so not many people kind of challenge what I say. In the startup world, we're probably one of the biggest startups in Japan right now, which have popped up in the last 5-6 years. So when I go to conferences like G1 Under 40 or IBS, I'll listen, but I won't listen that much because I'm like, I did it already. But when you meet guys like Jack Ma or, one of my college alum, I went to Tufts in Boston, but one of my OBs was a guy called Jamie Dimon who heads JP Morgan. And I was talking with Jamie about his days at Tufts and what he's doing with JP Morgan right now in the last, since the Lehman shock. I mean, it's a different league. I realize that I'm only fighting in judo, in sumo, or J2 in soccer. I'm not even the Premier Leagues that I'm fighting in. I'm fighting in the J League, and everyone else is playing in the Liga Española or Premier Leagues or Serie A in Europe. You get to realize that, and you don't kind of get that perspective in your daily life. You may meet 1 or 2 people, but when you meet hundreds of people who have bigger visions, who have a bigger role in society, or is even dreaming big or dreaming into the future, you realize that you're a very small kind of presence in society. And for me, that was very stimulating. And that's my biggest take back, that I need to work harder, I need to put more effort, or even have bigger dreams to have a more fun life or a more fun business. Yeah.
Any other questions? Let me ask you, I think the days in Davos, even though it's like 4 or 5 days, it starts very early in the morning, goes on until very late, and very intense. How did you manage?
I think you have the adrenaline pumping. Yeah. So the parties go on until like 2 or 3 a.m. because there's so many parties going on or that are sponsored by companies, and there's clubs that are just open all night, and then you have breakfast meetings from like 7:30, right? I'm like, wow. But it's a few days. You get the adrenaline going. It's very cold outside, so once you step outside, your brain really freshes up. You do actually a lot of walking.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot. They actually, emphasize or they recommend that you walk a lot which was a good thing for me. And obviously the shuttles, you meet people in the shuttles, but it's like a 10, 15 minute walk. Yes, it's like -10, but it really freshens up your mind, and the air feels good. So, a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, a lot of coffee. Yeah, the food sucks, so you don't eat that much, so then you don't get that sleepy. So you're feeding off of alcohol and coffee, so for like 3 or 4 days. Yeah. And then you have some stimulating discussions. So it's not like Japanese university class where you're just like listening. There's a lot of interaction. You go into the floor, you meet a lot of people, you just meet randomly, talk to people at the coffee lounge. It's a lot of socializing. It's like a college prep party. Yeah.
I think when Davos, the annual meeting was held, nobody thought about this whole thing, like financial market going down like crazy and exchange rate going out in the window and stuff. Did they talk about the possibility at all?
Well, I think there was a lot of skepticism in the global economy, a lot of unclarity, uncertainty, not clear. There's a lot of problems that were talked about, the refugees and so on and so forth, that may trigger something. Obviously, the China kind of shock in the first week of January already happened, so a lot of people were asking questions to delegates from China government or Chinese companies. The funny thing was, I had a breakfast meeting with Terry Porte. Terry Porte was the CEO of Morgan Stanley when I was at Morgan Stanley, and was the CEO of Shinsei Bank until a few years ago. So Terry and I, we had breakfast last week, and he was my CEO when I was the first year at Morgan Stanley. And so I asked Terry, Terry asked me, so what did they talk about the Davos? So I'm like, it seems like everything is okay. The Chinese guys were saying, there's a lot of uncertainty, but it will be okay, blah, 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 EU will be okay, refugee, questions will be answered. And Terry mentioned that, okay, so it means that the economy is going to tank. He said, everything that you hear about at Davos, it goes the other way. Because it's like a session where people, talk about what's not actually happening, but behind the scenes, there's something different happening. So he was right. But like the stock market just crashed today. I'm in the middle of trying to raise capital, so it's an interesting experience and roller coaster ride.
Wow.
But I think what they talked about and what actually really happened in 1 or 2 weeks was a little bit different. But all in all, I think the problems that they talk about are so big, like refugees. I have no clue what a life of a refugee is, but they have an experienced kind of lab where everyone almost went, they have this like a life of a refugee. It was like a workshop. So those are some of the things that, like I said, it kind of increases or raises your horizons or vision to make you see the world even more.
I think we're going to be talking about the what kind of jobs, what do you want to be in the future in the breakout sessions. But before we get to that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company? Yeah, this week.
Okay, so basically, like I said, about in 2009, so about 7 years ago, I started up what I was doing back then. I'll tell you the problem first. I was looking for a job. Okay, I was looking for a job. My last job was working for a baseball team. I was a founder of the Rakuten Eagles, together with Hiroshi Mikitani. We started up a baseball team in Sendai with about there were about 7 founding members. And I did that for 3 years. I've never wanted to be an entrepreneur. In school, when I was working at Rakuten, when I was in finance, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur because I knew that once you become an entrepreneur, you have to commit and continue doing it. I'm good at starting up businesses and launching it and taking it up to the right direction in the first few years. But I'm the type of guy that likes doing different things simultaneously and and at the same time, basically. So I started looking for a job, and I knew that I wanted to understand what the internet was, because at finance and baseball, my parent company was an internet company, but I ran the stadium and ran a 20,000 person event every other day. So I knew that I wanted to understand what the internet was, and the easiest way for me was hey, let's work at an internet company. And I started looking for a job and quickly realized or found out that it was a very inefficient and ineffective process, all in all. I had 27 recruiters helping me, each telling me different things. Hey, Swimmy, this is a perfect job for you. And they all introduced me to a different position. So basically, when I took a look at the recruitment market, or how people find jobs, or vice versa, or how companies find talent, I found that there was a huge, big black box between professionals and companies. And in that black box were recruiters. And in that big black box, a lot of information was being lost. And my business is basically opening up that box and connecting professionals and companies, or professionals and employers directly. This is exactly what Rakuten or Amazon did with the retail market. You have people who want to buy, who want to sell. Before, there was this huge, logistical market. You had distributors, secondhand distributors, you had retailers. And, buyers and sellers could not transact directly. And what Rakuten and Amazon did was, right in the middle of this black box in the retail market, they just opened up an online marketplace where buyers can sell to, or sellers can sell to buyers, and buyers can buy directly from sellers. It just cut out the whole middle market. So 7 years ago, what I did was I opened up, a marketplace where employers can connect with professionals directly. It's almost from a professional point of view. It's like me auditioning in front of every company and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. Whichever company wants me, say hello. Instead of going to a recruiter and having them, go through the information and telling me what they think I should do, I could just audition and look at all the information of all the companies that are looking, put my resume up, and whichever employer likes me, they can contact me directly. So now I have this huge platform of about 250,000 people and about 4,500 companies that are connecting directly and saying hello to each other whenever they want somebody to hire or whenever someone wants to find a job. And like I said, quickly in the last six and a half years, we've grown the company from 2 people to 550 people. Halfway in between, we've started up kind of like a smaller little brother version of BizReach. BizReach is targeted at people in their 30s and 40s who, have senior level positions. Career Track is a new service which is geared. We have the same concept. It's called direct recruiting. We have a direct recruiting platform for young professionals. So, basically, I'm literally cutting into Recruit's business. If there's someone from Recruit today, I'm very sorry that we're doing this to the industry, but it's exactly like what Rakuten and Amazon did to the retail market. A lot of people ask us if we're a recruiting company, but no, we're a platform company. It's like, is Rakuten a retail company? No, I'm not saying retail or recruitment is bad, but we're both platform companies. It's like comparing Aeon or 7-Eleven to Rakuten, or Seibu department store to Rakuten, right? Comparing us to Recruit, it's a different kind of business model. So, we're an internet platform connecting employers and professionals. If you have time, please check it out. If you email me directly, I'll give you a free pass to use it because it costs a small fee to use. Okay, so thank you, Ishikura-san, for giving me the chance to talk about my company.
Good. Thank you very much. Okay, now it's time for you to discuss. And what I would like each one of you is to take your chair to any one of these, I think there are 8 tables, and start discussing. And the topic is, what do you want to be? It's very broad. What kind of job do you want to do, or whatever? And so and you have figured out that the things change from the initial discussion. And also you heard from Minami-san that the world is changing. And sometimes you want to think about something much bigger than your current job or your next job. And so, I mean, that's the kind of thing that we would like to give it a try this time. So go to any one of these tables, quickly introduce yourself to the other members, and start discussing. So somebody can lead the discussion, or you can take turns. And after about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes, we would like each one of the group to report back what you have discussed. Any new ideas? Clear? Okay, go.